Your phone. Down on the interstate, halfway to Frederick. There was Hey, Beth.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing super. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Hey, Gail.
Hi, Pam.
I love your pictures behind you, your puppy pictures.
Oh, thank you.
They're super cute. Hey, Pam. Oh, Pam's not connected to audio yet. Maybe she needs help.
Um,
Can you hear us, Pam?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Here you are. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. We're just waiting for Lenny to hop on. He's coming to us from Cumberland today.
Oh, okay.
He's up there working, so he'll be on in just a minute. I'm gonna mute the office here, the training room, just until I see him come on. But if you
Okay.
need anything, just yell.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey.
All right, so Rebecca, turn your camera on. Yvette, turn your camera on.
Okay.
It is on. I don't know why it's showing a black screen. I'm trying to figure
Oh,
that
wow.
out.
Okay,
Okay.
and then everybody else can mute. And so we're going to discuss CMAs. Now, I do CMAs differently than everybody else, okay? And what I found, the way that I do them, and I learned it from another Keller Williams agent. And I found that the way that we do them is a little more accurate than any other way. So let me see, I'm gonna share my screen here so I can pull up. Bear with me a second, because I'm in the Cumberland office today. Guess y'all didn't know you were supposed to drive up here, right? Just kidding. You didn't have to drive. Denise, go ahead and turn your camera on.
All right, just give me a second.
I'm having technical difficulties here. I don't understand why. Bear with me. Oh, where did everybody go? All right, now let me try this. Share screen.
Oh,
All
there
right.
we go.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yep, yeah.
Okay, and I don't know why. There we go. All right. So I always start with Bright. So is there anybody that has a particular property right now that they want to check, or that they want to see if it's priced right or anything like that?
I got a PA one you can do.
That's fine.
410 West 6th Street.
Okay, so when I want to find out what the price is on something, or if it's priced correctly or not, I go into Bright, and I'll set, and you'll need to set Bright up so that you can do a CMA. Okay, which I already have that set up, and you'll be able to see how I do that. So we're going to go into Franklin County, Pennsylvania. We're going to get started right away, right? Okay. So what I use is active, pending, and closed. The only thing I want to know about it is how many bedrooms,
Three.
okay, so 3 or more bedrooms, and how many bathrooms?
1.5.
So 3 bedroom, 1 bath. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for anything else. And you'll notice that the closed properties, or anything that closed, is going to be within the last 6 months. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go up here where it says map. See where it says map on the Bright screen? We're going to hit map. And then we're going to jump to an address. The address we're going to jump to is, you said it was 416?
No, 410.
Oh, 410
410 West 6th Street.
West 6th Street. And that's Waynesboro.
Yep.
So let's find that house. There it is. Okay. So we're going to zoom out a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. I got to do this so I can zoom out. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And I can see that this is in town. Okay. So, and with the area that it's located in, I'm going to kind of just do, I'm going to go up here and we're going to draw a polygon. And we're going to go from here to here to here, down, over, and then back up. Because that's all a pretty good area. And it's all going to be similar based off of what's going on in this neighborhood. So once I've got my polygon drawn, we're going to hit the results. Now I like to put them.
Any reason why you do a polygon instead of a circle?
Just because when you're talking about the close proximity within that area, you know, usually when you're dealing with in-town limits, there's always north side, south side, east side, west side.
Okay.
So doing the polygon keeps me kind of like on the west side, but it's also going to bring some of the east side stuff in and some, but you notice I stayed below, so it's all south. Okay. So there's 26 listings that came up. And I want to categorize them from sold through to active, okay? So we've got an awful lot of closed properties. So we know it's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. So we're gonna go through and we're gonna take away some of them. Like we're gonna take this one away, which is 4 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. We're going to take away a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Take away the 4-bedroom. And all I'm looking at is bathrooms and bedrooms. Not looking at anything else. All right, so the pendings, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get rid of the 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
You kept a 5-bedroom up there.
Where?
115 East 5th Street.
Nope, that's not checked.
Oh, you're checking the ones you're keeping. Okay.
Correct. And then we're going to do the actives. Now, typically what I look for is I try to keep 3 actives and I try to keep 3 pendings. And I definitely try to keep 3 or more closed. So we definitely have more than 3 closed. We've got 2 pendings, which are going to be lumped in with the actives. But we're going to do 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath.
Can you say that again, please? So you usually do 2 pendings?
You're breaking up a little bit. I couldn't hear what you were saying.
No, can you just repeat a little bit of what you said? You say you usually get 2 pendings, 2 actives. Is that what you said?
Well, no, I typically like to have 3, at least 3 actives, at least 3 pendings, and at least 3 closed. The more closed I have, the better. If I don't have 3 pending, I'm not too worried because we've got 3 active. So we're going to have 5 to kind of give us a general idea of where things are at. And I'm going to throw one in here that's pending just to show you that that what matters is the actual location, okay? So we're going to keep all of these. Now, once I have these, then I'm going to go into my CMA, which is right here, okay? And now I've got to select a contact. So I'm already in here. So we're going to do myself. Because I always want to try and make sure I send it to myself. Okay. Because you always want to try and keep a copy of it. Because this will not always keep a copy of it. And then these are the pages that I have selected, which if you guys want to take a screenshot of those, you can do that. So I selected the cover sheet with a border, the summary of the comparable properties, a 4-up listing and a 4-up public report, a comparable overview, the importance of pricing, because it is important that we get the right price, setting the price, pitfalls of overpricing. So if you notice, there's a common theme with this, that we want the pricing to be correct and pricing recommendation. So then we're going to go to the subject. And we're going to search for the property listing to autofill from. Everything should be updated. You do have to be careful and make sure it is updated. Okay. So we said it was 410 West 6th Street, right?
Yes.
Waynesboro. And we have an active property. And then there is the property itself that we're doing the CMA on. And if it's ever been in the MLS, you're going to have all this same information. It's going to have the house and all that stuff that you can use in the CMA. And there's the cover photo. This is what your cover will look like. Okay. And then your comparables. So once we have the comparables, we're going to take out the 410 West 6th Street, because that's the one that we're comparing. Okay. So that means we're going to end up with a total of 5 to compare it with. And there's 3 pending and 2 actives. And I'm okay with that. Okay. Now, what I got to do is this, though. We're going to remove the selected one. Hit OK. Now, there's some agents that'll make adjustments. And when they say they're going to make adjustments, is they're going to come up with a price that they think the extra bathroom might be worth. They might think that the deck is worth more. You're not an appraiser. You can't do those kinds of things. So I kind of frown on adding for those items. Okay. So then we go to the pricing, and this is where we figure out the price. So the MLS will give you an automatic listing price of what they think it should be based off of the square footage. And they give us that they think it should be listed at $114,293. Okay. So I'll copy that and I'll put it down here in the suggested list price. And we're going to come back to that later. And then we're going to finish. And then we're going to view. So you guys should see this when it comes up. I need a pen. I need one of my pens. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. I had to get a pen. Everybody knows me, I can't just grab any pen and write. So this is what your CMA will look like if you set it up like mine. Okay. Now, this is where we get into the nitty gritty of it. So I look at the summary of comparable properties. Okay. And it's telling us that the active properties, those that are listed, are an average of $99.10 per square foot. It's telling us that the closed properties are an average of $94.35. And then it tells us the pending properties are $134.57 per square foot. Now, the active properties, they're listed at that price. Why are they listed at that price? When I see there's a flaw already with the square footage. And that flaw is that 311 South Church Street says that it's 0 square feet. So is that an accurate price per square foot? $99.10.
No.
That's correct. It's not. So what about the closed property? What we know about the closed properties is that the average price per square foot on the closed properties is $94.35, right? That looks like that's probably pretty accurate because the highest one's at $192 a square foot and it closed. And the lowest one's $59.44 and it closed. Okay. And then the pending properties, $134.57. One of them is not correct, right? Because it's 0 square feet. So that average of 134 is based on those two numbers divided by the 2. So what I will do at this point is just make note that $99.10 a square foot for active properties is what's being used. It was what people are typically listing them at right now. And I multiply that by the square footage of 1304. So that says it should be $129,226. Okay. And then we go to the closed properties. And we know that all the properties in the area closed at $94.35 a square foot. So $94.35 times 1304, it's 123,000. And then the pending properties are a lot higher. Why are they a lot higher? No idea?
Well, there's only really 2 because one has the 0.
Right. But why would they be higher?
And possibly because they're later in the year, April. I don't know.
No, it probably has more to do with the fact that it went under contract. And the contract price is higher than the list price. So they probably changed the list price to reflect that difference. Okay. So based on square footage, those are the prices that we come up with. So this is where I break it down a little bit better than that. And what I do is I take each property and I look to see what it's sold for. I divide it by the assessed value. And I come up with the percentage that the property sold for over the assessed value or is listed for over the assessed value. Why do I say listed for? Because we have pendings and actives. So we got to find out what the average percentage over the assessed value is on all these properties. So how do we do that? Well, we see Sunset Avenue was listed at 2.25, but closed at 246,000. And then we divide that by the assessed value. Now you're going to take notice in Pennsylvania, the assessed value is so much lower. So the numbers that we're going to get are going to be a lot higher. So we divide that by the 22,450, and that gives us 10.958% over the assessed value. That's how much that property sold for, over the assessed value. Okay. So we're going to do that with the rest of them. 204 Park Street sold at 124. And we're going to divide that by the assessed value of 13,030. Which is 9.517. Anybody having any difficulty figuring out how I'm doing that? Good, because the next one I'm going to have you guys figure out. 72,000 divided by 3,930. And what do you get?
$18.3.
You always want to go out to the third decimal. So it would be 18.3 to what? Correct. What seems awful high, doesn't it? That's okay. So we're going to go on to the next ones. We're going to keep doing this on the closed properties. Now, the nice thing is none of them have paid any closing assistance to the buyer. Okay. So why is that nice? Well, because then you don't have to subtract it from the price that it closed at. So Park Street closed at 82,500. And then we divide by the assessed value of 68.90. And you guys go ahead and figure these three out on your own. Let me know when everybody's done. Ashley and Yvette, go ahead and turn your cameras on. Everybody done doing the math on these?
Yep.
Okay. So 273 Park Street, what did everybody get?
$11.974. I think. I didn't write down if that was that one or not.
That one's correct. What about 333? What about 333 South Church Street?
$8.735.
You sure about that?
Wait. You said 333 South Church. Hold on. I didn't do it by the. 'Cause I'm using my phone calculator and my, okay.
Did you say 8.735? That's what you said?
Yes,
That's what
because
I,
it's 107 divided by 12.
Yeah, that's what you
250,
should,
right?
that's what you should have gotten. I like to throw trick questions out there for you.
oh,
Oh,
come
very
on.
funny.
Wait a
I'm
minute.
just using my. You're very funny. Okay.
Come on, you guys know me. I like to throw wrenches in there. And then what about West 316 West 6th Street? This is real close to where it's at.
118, 500, 13.196, 196.
I got 13.195.
Okay, well,
Okay. So then we're gonna go ahead and everybody go ahead and do the pending properties.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Pennsylvania is where the assessment has to be multiplied by that factor. Is that what that is?
We're not worrying about that.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. You don't have to worry about that? I guess not.
No,
Because
because
they all have the same thing.
all the assessed values use the same millage rate. They don't have a
Alright.
different millage rate for each property.
All right.
So 22 East 3rd Street, what's wrong with that one?
Say it again.
Says $200 for the assessed value.
Yeah, so is that correct?
I'm going to say no.
But how do we know that's not correct?
Because how do we know? Because the annual tax was 2170.
Correct. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of research about 22 East 3rd Street, right? So this is why I do the 4 list up and then the 4 public record up. So if we scroll down to the public record, and looky there. The information's not there. So if the information's not there, we
Yeah, throw it
can't
out.
use that one, can we? So we're gonna throw that one out the window. We can't use it. There's no information. So then we'll go to the next one, which is 607 South Potomac Street. So the pending, you're going to start another column. The pending and active, you're going to do a separate column. So the next column is going to be the pending. And the one that we got to use there is 607 South Potomac Street. And what do we get for the percentage over assessed value?
for Potomac Street, 7.534.
That's correct. And then the next one. Next one's gonna be a crazy number.
14.894.
Yep. And then we go down to the actives. Now, here's what's nice. We can put the actives and the pendings together because the pendings, we don't know what they're actually closing for. We just, they're listed at that, right? And the current actives are listed at this price. So the next one, 253 Park Street is 82,450 divided by 4130. Well, that's a real crazy one too, isn't it?
Mhm.
And then the final one is the 189.9 divided by 16,580. So what we do now is we figure out the average of all of those, so we can come up with the average percentage over the assessed value for sold and the average percentage over assessed value for the actives and pending. So add up all of the solds. And then once somebody gets the answer for the solds, let me know what that is. Anybody got the answer to the solds yet? Nobody got the answer yet? Can you hear me?
I didn't write them all down. I'm really just trying to get things that I'm missing from my method.
Where is,
Huh?
these aren't sold on the screen because there's no close.
The closed were up here. Remember, we went through those.
Oh, okay, up there. Okay.
Yeah.
I should take clearer notes.
Okay. So
Is it 43.88? I might have written something down wrong. Some on my phone, it's tiny, but that's what I got.
well, you got to divide it. You got to get the average.
Oh,
You
That's
gotta
right. I
divide.
forgot that part. Thank you.
Yep,
Would it be, if I have all the numbers, would it be 11.960
for the solds,
for the closed property? Yes. There were one, two,
I
three,
got
four.
12.117.
Oh, maybe I'm missing one.
Well, let's see if I'm right. We got 10.958 for the first property, plus 9.517, plus 18.321, plus 11.974, plus 8.735, plus 13.195, which equals 72.7. And you divide that by 6 because there's 6 sold properties. And that gives us 12.1166667. So we rounded up to the nearest third, which is 12.117. Right? Everybody got that? All right.
Yes.
So the actives and pendings. So the pendings, what I've done, and I've done it 2 different ways intentionally. Okay. So I took the pending properties, and there was only 2 of them. And I came up with the average for those 2, which was 11.214. Okay. And then I took the average of the 2 active properties because I wanted to figure out what they were separate. And the reason I wanted to figure out what they were separate, I wanted to make sure that we're staying in line with where we should be. Because, you know, if you look at the first one, if you look at the solds, we had one that was 18.32%. That seemed like that was just way out of whack, right? In comparison to the others, because the others were 9%, 10%, 11%. They were all fairly close. But we got one that wasn't close. But you see, even having that 18% in there, our average was 12%, which is coming up fairly close to the actual properties that closed. So on the pendings, 11.214, on the actives, 15.709. Okay. So when I add the pendings and the actives together and average that out, the average is 13.462. With the pendings, it's a little bit lower than the ones that closed. With the actives, it's much higher than the ones that closed. The ones that are active, and the reason it's so much higher is because people are getting higher prices for the property. So people are listing properties higher, right? But is it going to appraise? Well, we don't know. So when we take that average of 13.462 and multiply it by the assessed value of our subject property. Now, if you have the subject property currently listed, Bright will automatically update the assessed value to read the current assessed value. But if you are doing a CMA for a property that sold 10 years ago, and you put that in here under the subject property, you will not get the actual assessed value. You will get the assessed value when it sold 10 years ago. So you need to make sure that on your subject property, which this is your subject property right here, you need to make sure that this $9,200 assessed value is the actual assessed value for that property. Okay? So the public report, it says it's 9,200. Is that correct? We don't know. You actually have to go into the tax record and find out for sure. However, I'm pretty sure that that is correct. And the way that we find out is we open up another section for Bright and go to the search and go to the public record. That's 410 6th Street. And it's Franklin County. And here's the actual tax record. The annual tax is $1,498 a year, and there is the actual taxable assessed value. So that is correct, right? Make sure from this point forward, because I found an error in doing these, and that was the error that I found. Make sure going forward that you actually make sure that you have the actual assessed value. So we know it's $9,200, right? So with that, we can take the $9,200, multiply that by 12.117, and that gives us a listing price of $111,476, right? And 40 cents. We'll throw that in there. So based on the sold properties, it's telling us that this house should probably appraise fairly close to $111,000. So then we take the active or the active and the pending properties, and we take that same 9,200 and multiply it by the average of the pending and the active together, which is 13.462. Which gives us a price of $123,850 and 40 cents. Now, I did that one extra step. You guys did not do that. So the one extra step that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it and I'm going to do just the pendings and say 9,200 times 11.214, which is 103,000. And then I look at the actives and I come up with 9,200, multiply that by the 15.709. And we got 144. All these numbers, right? The only numbers we're worried about are the 111 to 123. Okay. That's our price range. So somewhere between $111 to $123 is where this property should sell. What's the listing price?
Way more than that.
It sure is. That's a huge discrepancy. So how do we justify that discrepancy? So we take a look. I would say that the Sunset Avenue is giving us our biggest discrepancy, because we know that based off of the square footage, it should be 129,000. Remember, we figured it out that way. So there's another way to go in here and take a look at this. And what I'd like to do is, can you guys still see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to NAR RPR. And I'm gonna run a report using the algorithm to see what comes up. It's 410. That's 6 through. Oh, look at there. $144.70. And if you remember, the properties that are listed, that are active, gave us the average of 15.709% over the assessed value. Tells us that that should have been listed at probably right around 145 to 149. So this is listed at 184.9. I'm skeptical that this thing's going to appraise. Because the numbers just aren't adding up. Now, we also know that in this market, a lot of people are asking a lot more for their house and getting it. So is it possible that the listing agent agreed to list this property for what the seller wanted to sell it for? Now, I have not seen this property. I don't know anything about this property. I haven't looked at pictures. I don't know if it's been updated. I don't know if it's been flipped. I don't know if it's been rehabbed. I just know that based off of the current properties that have sold in proximity to this property, this house is most likely overpriced. So Shelley, you showed the property.
Go ahead.
Looks
I
like
was
it's.
gonna ask Lenny, can I ask a question? Don't you
Go
all
ahead.
really worry about that when you have a buyer that's have a loan per se, like right versus a cash offer? I mean, if you have somebody that's paying cash, it really doesn't.
If you have somebody that's paying cash, they probably don't care.
But if you have a loan,
But
that's
then
what you worry about.
you could have somebody that does a cash offer. And if they know the area well enough, they may say, I'm gonna pay cash, but I still want to do an appraisal. I mean, the house, it looks like the house has been flipped. Looks like it's been freshly painted. So could it be that they're hoping to get that 189? I mean, they didn't do anything with the shed. It needs a new roof. So, I mean, I don't know. This would be a tough one for me. I don't know if I could say it's worth 189. I don't see, there's nothing indicating that it's worth 189. And then even when I pull the RPR report, that's gonna be closer. That's usually gonna be pretty close. And we can see that the RPR report says it's a 4-star. Which 4 stars not bad, but they're giving it an estimated range based on all the homes that sold around it. A 3-bed, 2-bath at roughly 125 to 163,000. I'm cautious. To me, it looks like somebody said it's a hot market. We're gonna stick this price on there and let's see what we get. Will they get multiple offers? Probably, because there's just no inventory. But I'm letting my people know ahead of time, I don't think it's going to appraise for 189,000 or 184,000. I just don't see it.
So Lenny, if you're the listing agent and you have a client that is insisting that their house be listed much higher than you believe it's going to appraise for, what would you do in that scenario?
Well, I've run across those, haven't I, Shelley? Isn't Shelley listening? Typically, I will try to convince them that we really need to be listed where the market says we should be listed. I'll list it for what you want me to list it for, but I need an automatic price reduction if we don't get anything in 10 days. Typically, the way that I do these, I usually find that unless the property is a flip, which it looks like this one's a flip, chances are they're not going to get that. And there's still a pretty good chance because it still has to have an appraisal done unless somebody pays cash. It's not going to happen. I think this one's going to have an issue with the appraisal. Everybody kind of understand how I did that? I mean, kind of understand why I do it that way. I think it gets us in a better ballpark. Now, we're not going to know about this house until it closes. What was the offer? Did you guys write an offer on it, Shelley?
We are going to.
Okay. And let me ask you this, did the buyer feel like it was worth that?
She's willing to go more.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think a part of that is frustration as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay. My concern's gonna be the appraisal.
yeah, we're actually going to use an escalation. And of course, with that, it would have to appraise. So
Yep. And don't get me wrong, I could be completely wrong. I'm not an appraiser. I just know that the way I run numbers in 410 West 6th Street in Waynesboro, there's quite a few houses in that neighborhood that are townhouses. And this one happens to be a single family home. You know, so I know some of those were townhouses and that could be why they sold for less. But I'm gonna have to wait and see what the appraisal comes back at and see what it actually sells for. I do keep my eye on ones like this where they're listed way above what I came up with for numbers and with what the RPR says. And then what I do is I go back into Bright and I'll hit pricing, and I'll go back to the pricing and put in my range of 123 to 144. And then I'll hit finish, and then I'll print it out and I'll give it to the person. So if this person would have called me to list it, I wouldn't have listed it probably more than 149. And I could have showed him. Now, I did take notice, but he just bought this 2 years ago. He bought it for 124, I think it was 124, 125. Which is a lot, probably why he wants 189. But in Pennsylvania, the market hasn't climbed that rapidly. It's climbed, but it hasn't climbed that rapidly. Anybody have any questions? Everybody's good?
Just a quick question, Lenny.
Go ahead.
When you also try to compare to look at the comparable properties, you probably did it, but I missed the first part. Did you also do the above grade finished square feet?
Nope. All I did was 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay,
Now, that's an important question, especially now.
exactly.
Because now, as of April 1st, I don't know if everybody's aware of it or not, but you might want to write this down. As of April 1st, 2022, any square footage that is below grade, an appraiser has to measure the ceiling height. If the ceiling height is less than 7 foot 10 inches, it cannot be considered livable square footage. So if somebody finished off a basement and it's 7 foot 4 inches, doesn't matter. And those are things that people are going to start to realize with the new method of doing appraisals they're going to be using.
Is that just Pennsylvania or nationwide?
That's nationwide.
Yeah.
Did you say 7 foot 5 inches?
7 foot 10 inches. And that only pertains to the space below grade level. It will also pertain to converted attic space. Because typically attic space is not considered livable space.
Got it. Is it the same height for attic space?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's going to be important to know for the person that finished their basement off. And that's information they're not going to readily know.
You said 7.2.
7 foot 10 inches.
Okay.
So, and I think Fannie Mae made that change because they saw the prices adjusting upward so rapidly, just like they did back in 2006. So now they got to try and put it into perspective. So that's going to be the challenge, is moving forward for sellers, getting on board with the national standardized appraisal guidelines. And that was the biggest change. So, all right, so that's good. We kept it to an hour. Anybody else got any questions? All right, you're free to go.
Thank
Have
you,
fun.
Lenny. It's been very
Thank
helpful.
you.
Okay,
I get this.
Thank you.
you're welcome.